Hi, my name is Cedric Evele. I'm a 26-year-old mechanical engineer and mountain biker, and I'm stoked to show you guys my invention, my drivetrain invention. So I've been thinking about the problem of derailleur and their lack of reliability for a really long time, and 2.5 years ago I had an idea for a solution, and I've been developing that idea full-time since then. I basically separated conventional derailleurs into its two functions of shifting the chain between the cassette sprockets and tensioning the chain. So I moved the chain tensioning functionality to the middle of the bike where it's protected. This mechanism is a chain tensioner, and it pivots around the bottom bracket axis. Here you can see the tension arm giving and taking chain slack by pivoting around the bottom bracket axis. So when the drivetrain is shifted to lower gears, the tension arm pivots backward to give chain slack, and then when the drivetrain is shifted to higher gears, the tension arm rotates forward to take chain slack. So as you can see, the derailleur is mounted at 2 points, so it's really well braced. It can handle impacts, but those impacts are unlikely because it's quite high off the ground. There's a lot of ground clearance. The frame also goes around the derailleur, so it's protected by the frame as well. The drivetrain works with high pivot suspension, so there's all the suspension performance benefits of high pivot suspension. There's a couple of reasons why the commonly stated drawback of the drag of high pivot suspension is decreased in the Supre drive. So one is that the pulleys are big, so the two lower pulleys, but also the idler pulley are bigger, and that improves efficiency. But also the tensioner has a clever system which makes the chain tension approximately constant in all gears. Whereas compared to conventional derailleur drivetrains, there's more chain tension in the lower gears, so you get more drag when you're cranking up in your granny gear. So in the Supre drive, you get pretty constant chain tension in all the gears, so less drag in the lower gears, and combine the big pulleys plus the clever chain tensioning system, you end up with a high pivot bike with less of the high pivot bike drawbacks. The Supre drive is reliable like a gearbox, and yet it's lightweight and it shifts under load and it's efficient like a derailleur drivetrain. So it combines the advantages of gearboxes with the advantages of derailleur drivetrains to create the best mountain bike drivetrain in existence. I made my first prototype drivetrain back in March of 2019 with a few parts that I hacked together. And then I realized that the Supre drive is so different than conventional derailleur drivetrains that it would take special frames. And so I bought a second-hand welder and taught myself to weld with YouTube videos and a lot of practice. And I made 2 full suspension prototype frames so far. In this video, you're seeing me ride the second prototype frame that I built. The drivetrain is currently a mix of 3D printed and CNC machined parts that I've all done in my basement. As you might expect, I've gone through a ton of drivetrain part iterations. With a lot of hard work over the past 2.5 years, I've arrived at something that shifts just as well as conventional derailleur drivetrains. The Supre drive currently uses a Shimano Hyperglide Plus chain and cassette, and also a Shimano shifter, and it shifts really just like a Shimano 12-speed drivetrain. The Supre drive is patented, and I'm starting the Lal Bikes company to manufacture the drivetrain parts in Canada. I'm currently collaborating with a major mountain bike brand to develop a frame for the Supre drive, and I'm willing to collaborate with any other frame company that wants to put the Supre drive on their bikes. I'm working hard to make this commercially available as soon as possible, and you can follow along at Lal Bikes on Instagram.